Happy October. Fall is in the air here. It was interesting. We had some really warm weather, and then October 1st, you could literally feel the winds of change sweeping in, and the temperatures here dropped a bit, and it's been a pretty windy week. Thankfully, not having any of the storms of the hurricane. We're way far away from that, but definitely praying for all those that are struggling with loss of so many things. If you're looking for any good places to give volunteer-wise, financially-wise, etc., I'm going to put a few links of trusted places and people that I know of in the write-up today. And I hope that maybe some of you could also share trusted places and people that you know of in any of those affected areas. When you want to give and you want to support something, it's hard to know who you can trust. So if you have some trusted resources, some trusted friends or specific people that are on the ground in any of those areas that are collecting donations of any kind or looking for, people to be able to come and donate their time and labor and hugs, etc., please put those in the comments so that we can grow a library of people that are near and dear to us, that we trust, that we can help through this. So the focus this month is what's around the corner. I hope there's nothing terrible around the corner for you, but it's a season of change, and it brings to mind all sorts of things. Sometimes this season, for me, brings out a sense of adventure. Literally, what's around the corner? On the way to work, I get a little extra distracted because the scene is always changing. The leaves shift colors, they start to fall. It's pretty magical, but also it's fleeting. For digging deeper together this month, I'm going to bring up an old interview with Danica Thurber about anticipatory grief. I think it's a good reminder of the many different ways that we grieve and the ways that we can support ourselves and each other in that. And it's not just about losing a loved one or watching someone decline in health. It can be about all sorts of changes in our lives. Even just anticipating the coming of winter can bring about some of that anxious, anticipatory type grief. And I talk with my clients a lot about the worst part of anxiety of anything about to happen is what's just before. It's that we know it's coming, and it breeds all sorts of anxiety and tension and stress. That's what we're going to work on a little bit this month, is giving you some tools of how do you deal with that kind of anxiety and that kind of anticipation and grief. And again, not just about death and loss, but about change as well. Every change brings a loss of something. You can't start a new book without finishing an old book. You can't move to a new house without saying goodbye to the old one. So even if these are good changes in your life, they bring about a sense of grief and loss and change and shifting. And transitions are good, but they can also be hard. So what is around the corner for you? It could be this time of year. What's around the corner for you? It could be this stage of your life. What's around the corner for you? It could be what's on the news these days of what's around the corner. So let's start to identify what those things are and prepare for them, but not in an anxiety-provoking way. Let's look for truth that can help us transition. Let's also look for ways that we can savor the moments that we're in. This past week I've started collecting some leaves and some seeds along the path as we walk, because I have this adorable little project from Maria of using air-dry clay and, well, we call them helicopters up here. I think they're maple seeds, and they look a little different than what hers are. She's in Germany, but anyway, I'll show you a little clip of her reel of these birds, and I hope they inspire you. So my creative challenge to you this week is to go about your days, to go about your walks and your lives, and take note of the things that you're anticipating around the corner and the things that you want to savor right now. Maybe you gather some things from outside. You want to press some leaves while they still have the brilliant color in them and do an art project with them. Like I did when I was a kid, we pressed them between wax paper, and you use those as bookmarks or as place settings for Thanksgiving. I did a class once with a bunch of kids, and we went out and collected all these acorns, and we glued them to pretty ribbons and tied them around napkins. And then we also did some fun things of making them into little people and stuff. So look around you. What can you enjoy in this season while you wait for what's coming? The visual that we often talk about in counseling is when we have one foot in the future, we're anxious. When we have one foot in the past, we're depressed. And if we have a foot in the future and in the past, we can't be in the present, and it tears us apart. So may you look for what's coming and savor what's been, but also find a way to keep both feet in the present, enjoying that and taking care of yourself and looking for the truth that can hold you steady for whatever's coming ahead. Corrie ten Boom has a terrific quote: "We can trust an unknown future to a known God." So take care, everybody, and we'll see you next week for studio time. And then the following week, we'll release Danica's interview on anticipatory grief, along with a link to her new grief art therapy course. Happy October, everybody.